And Karam, you recently showed us some books from your collection, so I want to show quickly some books that relate to my current theme of boxing. This is the greatest boxing book that I have ever read, Unforgivable Blackness, by Jeffrey C. Ward. An incredible tale, a true story obviously, of the first coloured heavyweight champion, who in 1908 he wrestled the heavyweight crown from whoever the incumbent was at that time. I can't really recall. But an incredible read. For years upon years, this guy battles the federal government to rightfully, and the Boxing Commission, to get it rightfully, to get his rightful shot at the title. Eventually he got it. He had to go to Australia to fight, and then he came back, and then he was imprisoned. He was accused of transporting females across the state line, i.e. smuggling. They tried to pin everything on him, but a brilliant, brilliant book, Unforgivable Blackness. Check that out. And this is, while I'm on the boxing theme, I might as well arc on with Rocky Marciano, probably one of the greatest heavyweights of all time, the only one that finished a proud career with an undefeated, unbowed record of 49 fights, 49 wins, 46 by knockout. And here he is about to deliver his fabled right hook, his Susie Q. And that is the definitive Marciano book. It's called The Rock of His Times by Russell Sullivan. This is a great book, modern enough book. I think it was written about 15 years ago. Dark Trade by Donald McRae. Features Tyson, Nassim Hamed, Oscar De La Hoya, Felix Trinidad, James Toney, and of course Nigel Benn, my favourite modern boxer, fantastic warrior. I have to put in an Ali book. I was going to put in King of the World by Remnick, but I put in this one instead, Norman Mailer's The Fight, which is a great book. And finally, this great book about the four super heavyweights that super middleweight champions that prevailed in the 1970s. The great rivalry between Marvin Hagler, Sugar Ray Leonard, Roberto Duran, and Thomas Hitman Hearns. So all those 5 books I could strongly recommend. Okay, moving on. Seconds out, round 7. And quickly, some lovely folk stuff. Mick Hanley, who's from this very city, produced this lovely album in the early 1980s called As I Went Over Blackwater. And this one is produced by Donal Lunny of Planksty fame and features Donal Lunny, Andy Irvine, and Matt Malloy, who are all members of Planksty at various stages. And also Noel Hill, and he would have done a lot of work with Christy Moore. And this is a gorgeous album. It is the last of his pure traditional folk albums, after which he embarked on a pretty, well, more successful but less interesting singer-songwriter career. But that's a lovely album, As I Went Over Blackwater, and well worth checking out. I got this one last October. This one is a real grail for me. Dick Gowan, he's a Scottish folk singer, and Andy Irvine together produced only one album on the German Folk Freak label, and this is it. It's called Parallel Lines. Gorgeous album as well. This came out in the early 1980s, and I saw Dick Gowan in concert. God, when was it? Last September and October. But really gorgeous album, Parallel Lines. I'm delighted to finally got that one. And this one is a very interesting one on the Mulligan label. This one is the eponymous album and the only album by Pumpkinhead, which were 2 American couples that had relocated to the west of Ireland and recorded this album. It's really nice. It features cover versions of Comfort You by Van Morrison, which I think is on his Veed and Fleece album, and it also features Neil Young's Are You Ready for the Country, which I thought was an interesting selection, and some Americana as well. Wedding Dress, I know that's been covered to great effect by Sam Amidon. But this is actually traditional Irish music for the most part, but a lovely folk album as well, worth checking out. I have only ever seen this once, and that was when I bought it. And then Tony, Mr. Fartboy, if you're watching, you would very much approve me buying this one. Neil Young's album from last year, his collection of folk tracks on Third Man Records, I think by which is owned by a man from the White Stripes, and this is a gorgeous album. It's one of the albums of 2014 for me. It's called A Letter Home. Tony, you showed us the box set of it, and the choice cut on this one is the Bert Jansch track Needle of Death, which was on either his first or his second albums. Excuse me. And that brings us nicely to Bert Jansch. This is one of his last albums called The Black Swan. It came out in 2006. I think he died in 2007 or 8. So therefore maybe his last album. Features The Old Triangle, the Brendan Behan song, or poem rather. And he's helped out here by Beth Orton, who is a huge fan of his. Incidentally, she's the wife of Sam Amidon, who I mentioned previously.
Oh, she kissed his lips and combed his hair, her heart being full of sorrow. Then she set him on her milk-white steed, which bore him down to Yarrow. As he came on yon high hill, down by
I have two nice findings here. The first one I only picked up last week, Outcast Aquemini. I actually have this on CD since it was released back in the day. This is my favourite album by them. It's a double album. This is obviously a reissue. Features Rekwan from Wu-Tang Clan. Favourite track on this is without doubt Return of the G, which features that lovely lilting theme from Midnight Express, which actually is a very good book. I have the book over there as well. Great movie as well by Alan Parker, I think it was. But a fantastic album, Aquemini. They're definitely their greatest album as far as I'm concerned. And then this is very much a grade of mine. I used to have this on CD as well back in the day. This is the third, I think. It's one of the early albums anyway by Los Angeles duo People Under the Stairs, or Puts, P-U-T-S as they're known colloquially. An incredible album. Acid Raindrops, you all know the track Acid Raindrops. If you don't, you should check it out. Jappy Jap is on it as well. That was the single. Fantastic album. Really, really fantastic album. Conscious hip hop is what this is. Really, really nice. Seconds out, round 9. Now I have this one a while. I'm not too impressed with this one. It came out in 1986 or 1987. Stephen Street had a hand in production and played bass guitar in it. And they also had some guest musicians from Manchester's Simply Red playing on it. It's called The Guitar and Other Machines. It also features one of those flexi discs on the inside, which I'm not going to take out. It basically is the ones that were given out free in some magazines. You had to put a coin on top of them because they were so lightweight. They wouldn't have tracked properly otherwise. But this is rather forgettable, I think. Certainly one of his lesser efforts, The Guitar and Other Machines. But it has some nice tracks, to be sure. But even looking at them now, I can't even readily recall which ones were good. But my gut instinct in this one is that this is not one of his stellar moments. But his most recent album certainly is one of his stellar moments, and that's called Chronicle. I showed this before, but I didn't give a spiel on it because I was basically wanted to have a proper listen to it. And this came out in 2011 initially, which was a gigs only release. And this particular one is a box set of 2 CDs. And it comes with a lot of goodies, including like booklets, download codes, certificates, all that kind of stuff, limited edition photography. But most interestingly, I think, was this thing of S2 grade sandpaper, which harked back to the return of the Durutti Column, the very first album, very coarse sandpaper, and the theme is obviously reflected here, in this little booklet. But it's a really nice album. He recorded it initially in 2011, but on a limited edition of maybe 150 or 200. This particular box set was reissued last year around last October, I think I got it. It's selling out fast, and it's basically XL refers to his 60th year, so he turns 60 years old this year. The albums it's basically split into two sides. Side one is the re-recording of the original show from 2011, the original album 2011, and side two is basically new tracks that were recorded in 2014. It contains some particularly poignant moments because in 2011, just after he recorded what was version one of this album, he suffered a series of strokes and was hospitalized for many years and had to relearn how to sing and had to relearn how to play the guitar. And this album has some lovely ambient tracks. There's a few guest vocalists in it, 2 female guest vocalists and 1 male guest vocalist. But some of the moments are quite full of pathos. For example, the rest of a life and 9 years of very harrowing numbers. Basically, they chronicle the breakup of his relationship with his partner of 9 years, Poppy Morgan, not to be confused with the porn star of the same name, which I later found out. But some really nice tracks in this, some lovely ambient moments, and this is one of the albums of 2014 for me. Some duff tracks, yeah, but by and large, this is a lovely album. Chronicle, you should check this one out. This is selling out rapidly. Some odds and ends. Andrew Champ Sound, you showed this one before. I think it was when we were doing the bass treads responses. I believe you showed it at that time. Mal Waldron. I knew him from his work with Embryo, but I wasn't familiar with any of his earlier works, and you played this one. And I researched it, and I says, yeah, I gotta go and get this one, featuring Eric Dolphy and Ron Carter. Really nice album. This is obviously a reissue. David Sequoia Flame, you showed this one, and you waxed lyrical about it. It's Hogtid, I think, by a group called Agussa, AGUSA. They're Swedish, I think. This is lovely prog. It's prog rock, really, with krautrock leanings. And this is available on their Bandcamp page for a really nice price. Well worth checking out. An edition of, I think there was 400 of them, but this is a really good album. And I forgot to show this one when I was doing my metal stuff. This is a comp by Deep Purple. I got this for €1. I was delighted to get it because it contains the only two tracks that I know from Deep Purple, and that is Smoke of the Water and especially Child in Time. Ottavio, you spoke about the Live at the BBC album, which I've been looking for, but I haven't found it yet. But this contains the full version of those two tracks, Smoke of the Water and Child in Time, from the Made in Japan album, and really two tremendous tracks. A nice comp. I'm not quite sure whether you feel that it covers all the stellar moments of their career up to that time, but for €1 I wasn't going to Round 11 is a trio of releases on the Black Jazz label. The first one is Henry Franklin, the Skipper. I already have one of his lovely works called The Skipper at home. This one is 1972, maybe his first album, I'm not sure on that. The second one is my particular favourite of the trio that I got. This is Sean Neek by Calvin Keys, the guitarist. He's a lovely soulful guitarist. This one's produced by Gene Russell, who also recorded for that label. And thirdly is Walter Bishop Jr.'s Ford Cycle. This was the cheapest of the bunch. This was only €5. And all three of them are American pressings. This one's €25. And not surprisingly, this is the best of the three of them. So a nice trio of releases on the Black Jazz label. And finally we come to round 12 in this exhausting championship fight that has gone on for far too long. But anyway, I'm punch drunk at this stage, and I just want to introduce now, for me, the most important finds and the most important additions to my collection, rather. And this is VCLT from 3 outstanding individuals in the VC. First of all, my mate in Tom's River in Jersey, Jimmy Earl of Suave. We routinely swap gifts to each other, and he found out that I was looking for this one on Strata East by Pharaoh Sanders for so long. It's called My Gifts. I'm not even going to try and pronounce the real title of it, but it features a whole host of stars: Leon Thomas, Lonnie Liston-Smith, Cecil McBee, and Sonny Sharrock. Incidentally, there's a tribute track on the Durutti Column one to Sonny Sharrock as well. But this is a fantastic album. I was looking for this one for a long time. The price made it continue that it was being selling for, made it continuously outside of my price range. And Jimmy, thank you so much for that. An amazing gift and an astonishing act of kindness. One that I will never be able to repay. I will try, but I will never be able to repay that. What a moment. Thank you so much. And Jimmy, you also gave me this lovely album by Gene Ammons called Jungle Soul. I've seen this one with a different cover. We were speaking about Gene Ammons because he does the soundtrack for a Woody Allen related movie called Fading Gigolo, I think. Both of which we hugely admired, and you got this one for me, so we're on the money with that one as well. And finally, as you were well aware, I'm a huge Jazz Crusaders fan, and you found this one for me. This is a really nice one as well, one of their earlier ones called Aha. It's, I think, maybe one of their last ones for Pacific Jazz. Dave down in Cork, Darkdubh, again one of my best mates. Dave gave me this one. He knew that I was looking for a Bill Frisell number, and he found this one, which is an album by Emil Viklicki, who is a Czechoslovakian fusion pianist, I believe, and with Bill Frisell's band of that time who were touring, that is Kermit Driscoll and Vinton Johnson, who I could say I've never heard of before. But this is quite funky in parts. It's on the label Superfon. It's called Okno, OKNO. I think there were 2 of these that were issued at the time. One is called Window, I think the other may be called Door. I believe I haven't checked that in a while, but this is well worth checking out, Dave. Thank you, very nice. And you also gave me this lovely comp on soul jazz of basically some Throbbing Gristle is on it, Certain Ratio, Cabaret Voltaire, Human League, Gang of Four, so all that kind of post-punk stuff, I suppose you call it. Very nice comp as well. You also gave me 2 CDs. Piper at the Gates of Dawn was one of them, and I can't recall the other one, but I know you gave me another CD. And thank you guys for both of those 2 gifts. And I also got this one from Scott Waters. Scott, I'm a huge fan of your channel. As you know, I'm going to do a live opening. I've never done a live opening before, so bear with me. I hope I don't actually make complete shit of this. But I've got my trusty knife here. It's not quite up to Bobby Gas proportions, but Bobby, I can assure you, where it matters, lengthwise and girthwise, I can more than match you. Maybe not on the knife front, but certainly in all other male aspects, I think I would be your measure. Oh, okay, Jesus. This looked. I know Molly Hatchet. He showed this one before. This is Southern Rock, and I commented on it. Oh wow! I think this may be their first album. Molly Hatchet includes inserts, and it's on what label? It's on Epic. Oh, it looks a lovely copy as well. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I've seen this actually do a live version of this as well. But what a lovely cover. He looks like an orc out of the Lord of the Rings set of movies. And he sent me this lovely... Oh, there you go. This lovely signed image of his band, Ultimatum. Thank you very much. Very nice. Nice one to add to the collection. To my VC brother, Ben. God bless. Oh, wow. This is a comp. He definitely showed this one recently. This is a comp of his band Ultimatum, 20 years in business. And this is a limited edition, I think, Scotty. I think this one is quite rare, and it's sealed. Thank you so much, man. Thank you so much. This means so much to me. You've no idea. Seriously, it means so much to me. Really, 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 really good. So that you, I suppose they're kind of speed metal, thrash metal. I think that's it. Yeah, that's it. So thank you so much, Scotty. I really, really appreciate the thoughtfulness of these gestures. The signed piece, the Molly Hatchet one, which I was asking you about, and to top it all, this limited edition album, which you recently showed. I think you showed it just before Christmas, on Rocks Records. So thanks so much, and lads, thanks for everything, Dave and Jimmy, and for all you guys out there, thanks for bearing with me during this championship round. Bout over.